Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Modi signs the first file in his third term. It's related to farmers' welfare. 93 million farmers to benefit from around $2.5 billion disbursement. Prime Minister Modi thanks world leaders for their congratulatory messages on his assuming office again to chair the first cabinet meeting later this afternoon. Centre-right European People's Party emerges as the largest group in the European Parliament with 191 seats. Von der Leyen is likely to get another term at the helm. What a match! India beats Pakistan by 6 runs in the last over, edge of your seat finish. Narendra Modi took charge as India's Prime Minister for a third time on Monday. In a reflection of the government's commitment to farmers' welfare, the Prime Minister authorized the release of the 17th installment of the PM Kisan Nidhi, which is a fund for farm welfare. Notably, this is the government's first decision in its new term. It will benefit 93 million farmers and distributes around $2.5 billion. After signing the file, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "Ours is a government fully committed to Kisan Kalyan. It is therefore fitting that the first file signed on taking charge is related to farmer welfare. We want to keep working even more for the farmers and the agriculture sector in the times to come," unquote. Using digital infrastructure, the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme has been providing monetary aid to farmers. Let's look at this report.
With an aim to provide financial support to farmers, the Government of India launched the Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi scheme in 2019. The initiative aims to benefit all cultivable landholding farmer families across the country. Under the scheme, eligible farmers receive 6,000 rupees annually in 3 equal installments of 2,000 rupees. The fund is directly transferred to the Aadhaar-seeded bank accounts of the beneficiaries. State government and UT administrations identify the farmers who are eligible for support as per scheme guidelines, but farmers can also self-register on the PM Kisan portal. As of 2024, the Indian government has disbursed nearly 3 lakh crore rupees to over 11 crore farmer families. With reliance on a farmer-centric digital infrastructure, the scheme has been ensuring that farmers receive monetary aid without involvement of any middlemen while maintaining transparency in the process. Bureau Report, DD India.
Narendra Modi was sworn in as India's Prime Minister at the Rashtrapati Bhavan on Sunday for a historic third consecutive term. Prime Minister Modi became the second Prime Minister of India after Jawaharlal Nehru to form a government for the third time in a row. Along with the Prime Minister, 29 cabinet ministers, 5 ministers of state with independent charge and 36 ministers of state took oath. Senior BJP leaders Rajnath Singh, Amit Shah, Nitin Gadkari, Nirmala Sitharaman and Dr. S. Jaishankar were sworn in as cabinet ministers. Leaders of the NDA alliance who took oath as ministers include Chirag Paswan and Jayant Chaudhary. The President, Draupadi Murmu, administered the oath of office and secrecy to them. Amit Shah is a senior BJP leader and has served as Home Minister of India during the 17th Lok Sabha. He served as the 10th President of the Bharatiya Janata Party from 2014 to 2020. Shah was appointed as the National General Secretary of the BJP in 2013. Rajnath Singh is a senior BJP leader and has served as the Defence Minister of India in the 17th Lok Sabha. He also served as India's defense minister, and he served as the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh before that. He served as the national president of the Bharatiya Janata Party a few times, and he also served as a minister in the Vajpayee government. A veteran Bharatiya Janata Party leader, Shivraj Singh Chauhan, served as the chief minister of Madhya Pradesh state. He holds the record of the longest serving chief minister of Madhya Pradesh. In the 2024 general elections, he won the Vidisha seat from the state, and his margin was a whopping over 8 lakh votes, or 800,000 votes margin. Born to a political family, Chirag Paswan contested the Lok Sabha polls for the first time in 2014, winning the Jammu seat in the eastern state of Bihar. His father, Ram Vilas Paswan, was a union minister and the founder of the Lok Janashakti Party. Chirag Paswan once again won from Jammu in the 2019 elections, and in the 2024 general elections, he won from Bihar's Hajipur seat, which was long his father's constituency. The first meeting of the new Union Cabinet is likely to be held later today. On Sunday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the new Council of Ministers took the oaths of office in secrecy. Draupadi Murmu, the President of India, administered the oaths to the Prime Minister and to his ministerial colleagues. The function was held at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Now, Kriti Vadhera is following the story, and she joins us with more on the story from the newsroom. Kriti, what's expected from the first cabinet meeting of the Modi 3.0 government?
Well, good afternoon, Mark. And to begin with, before I come to your question, let me just put it here that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has taken his office charge today morning. And the very first thing what he has done is benefiting the agriculture sector and the farmers of India. Kisan Nidhi fund has been, released, and it was the 17th installment of PM Kisan Nidhi fund, which will be ultimately benefiting the farmers of India, and 9.3 crores farmers will be benefited out of today's fund release, which is Kisan Nidhi fund. And now coming to your question, when it comes to Modi 3.0 government formation, yesterday we have witnessed that the landmark ceremony of Indian history took place in President House in New Delhi, and it was a star-studded affair. People, special invitees from all walks of life, witnessed this event, this magnificent, huge event, and right from the business tycoons to Bollywood stars were there to witness this ceremony. And we have seen that very heavyweight faces of Bharatiya Janata Party took the oath yesterday. And let me begin with names like Amit Shah, Rajnath Singh, Nirmala Sitharaman, Dr. S. Jaishankar, and to add on here, the top 5 portfolios which will be given to these, senior leaders, senior party leaders of Bharatiya Janata Party. There is a name which is added here, which is Shivraj Singh Chauhan, the man who is behind the clean sweep of Bharatiya Janata Party in Madhya Pradesh, who has won this election from more than 8,44,000 votes. He is expected to get a good portfolio, a bigger portfolio this time, being cabinet minister. And when it comes to the alliance with the alliance of NDA, so young faces have also been accommodated in this cabinet, coming to Chirag Paswan from Lok Janshakti Party, or the youngest cabinet minister, Ram Mohan Naidu from TDP. So such young faces will also be adding on to this cabinet this time. And not to forget the Nari Shakti Vandan bill, which Bharatiya Janata Party passed in its last term. Right. So the women representation in this cabinet could also be seen. Few faces, few women leaders have been promoted from Minister of State charge to Cabinet Minister, amongst which Annapurna Devi is one of them. Anupriya Patel from Apana Dal has also got the charge of being Minister of State, and the ally partners also have got the position in being Minister of State. So that's the scenario when we come to the formation of the government. And yes, the first cabinet meeting is lined up for 5 p.m. today. It is likely that by later half of the day, by evening, we'll be getting the formal announcement of the portfolios, that who has got what. So this is the current scenario. And there's one more interesting fact, that in this election and this formation of NDA-led government, we have seen that the southern India has played a crucial role, right from the allies partners of Bharatiya Janata Party, which is TDP. The state of Karnataka has got the biggest share. It has got 5 ministerial berths, yes, and Andhra has got 3. Telangana and Kerala respectively have got 2 ministerial berths, and when it comes to Tamil Nadu has got 1 ministerial berth. So this is the scenario, this is how this NDA-led coalition government is formed. Although the protocols were kicked off yesterday, but yes, we are waiting for the final announcement, for the formal announcement of the portfolios to be given to these ministers.
Yes, thanks very much, Kriti Vadera, for that roundup and putting things into context for us before the first cabinet meeting at 5 o'clock today. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi thanked the world leaders for their congratulatory messages. That is on his taking the oath as the Prime Minister for the 3rd term. Responding to a social media post by the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of India said that he looked forward to working with Canada based on mutual understanding and respect for each other's concerns. The Prime Minister also extended his thanks to the leaders of Finland, Slovenia, Uganda and Afghanistan. Prime Minister Modi responded to Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates' congratulatory message for his oath-taking ceremony, and he expressed deep appreciation, highlighting their past discussions on technology and governance and healthcare and India's commitment towards preventing or reversing climate change. Now, a day after taking oath as the cabinet minister in the Prime Minister Narendra Modi-led NDA government on Sunday, Dr. S. Jaishankar met leaders of the neighboring countries who attended the swearing-in ceremony. Jaishankar met the Maldives President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu on Monday, and sharing a photo from the meeting on social media platform X, Dr. Jaishankar wrote that he looked forward to India and Maldives working together closely in the future. Dr. Jaishankar also called on the Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on Monday and said that the two countries continue to share friendly relations. Dr. Jaishankar also met the Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe and recognized the steady progress in India-Sri Lanka relations. DD India's Sakal Bhatt spoke to Mary Milben in a special broadcast on Modi 3.0, and she talks about the oath-taking ceremony, her experience when she had sought Prime Minister Modi's blessings, and how the Prime Minister, through his victory, has silenced critics in the West. Let's listen.
You were glued to Indian televisions on the election day. Could you please share your thoughts with the viewers of DD India?
It's really just a historic time, not for India, but for the world. Prime Minister Modi taking his 3rd term, which, if I understand, has not been done since 1962, if I'm not mistaken. So it is a historic day for India, but really for the world. What Prime Minister Modi has done for India and positioning India in the world, in the region, is really remarkable. And so that's why you see such an energy across the world, a celebratory energy across the world for the Prime Minister, because the Prime Minister continuing is certainly important to the United States, and now you see important to the stability of the world. Of course, he was elected by the people, chosen by the people, and so the democratic process has played out.
Okay.
But I certainly believe that this 3rd term has more to, not so much to do with, the democratic process. I really believe it has to do with the spiritual process.
You have yourself seen many presidential elections and the events out there. So how do you look at this one?
Those oath ceremonies, presidential inaugurations come about. they're a real symbolic moment for a country to really have a healthy, moral, spiritual reset that is important for the betterment of the country. It was certainly a moment for him to publicly acknowledge coming back into the responsibility as prime minister, taking that oath under God. And then it was a moment for the entire country to collectively have a healthy, moral, spiritual reset. It was a moment to celebrate being a part of a democratic process.
What's still to come here on DD India News Hour? The French President Macron dissolves Parliament and seeks a fresh parliamentary mandate after losses in the EU polls. Iran's Guardian Council approves 6 candidates for the presidential election. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Now, hundreds of millions of Europeans cast their vote to select 720 members of the European Parliament. The far right made gains in the polls, even as the centre Liberal and the Socialist parties were set to retain a majority. The Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk's Civic Coalition came first in the elections with 37.1% of the vote in his country. Their coalition partners, the centre-right Third Way and the left, had 6.9% and 6.3% of the vote, respectively. Now, the main opposition party in Poland, the National Law and Justice Party, had 36.2% of the vote. The far-right Confederation Party had 12.1% of the vote. The incumbent European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, said that she wanted to build a majority in EU's parliament for a strong and effective Europe and was confident that she could win a new mandate.
Yes, I am confident, but of course, I know that there's still a lot of hard work ahead of me. I'm happy to address this work. But I'm definitely confident what my running for a second mandate is concerned. My aim is to continue on this path with those who are pro-European, pro-Ukraine, pro-rule of law. And as of tomorrow, this work starts again.
In Italy, the Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni's Brothers of Italy party won the most number of votes in the initial results that came in, boosting her standing both at home and abroad. Meloni, she thanked her voters for this vote. And forecasts, in fact, based on early count, said that the Brothers of Italy had won 28.3%, beating the 26% that it had secured in the 2022 national ballot when it rose to power. The opposition centre-left Democratic Party came in second at 23.7%. Alex Kadir now joins us from Brussels with more on this story. Well, Alex, do the results reflect any change in the direction that the EU is expected to take?
Well, they certainly reflect a change in the way voters feel about the European elections. It is a clear increase in the vote share by far-right parties in several key member states, particularly France, Germany, Austria, and the Netherlands, although in the Netherlands the far-right Freedom Party did not come first. It doesn't necessarily mean there's going to be a huge dramatic shift in the European Parliament, because as you quite rightly pointed out in your introduction, the centre-right party groups and the centre-left party groups will remain keep their majority and therefore keep control of the European Parliament. However, they will still need to work on some issues with some of the far-right parties. And you saw that signal by Ursula von der Leyen, the Commission President, saying pro-European, pro-Ukraine, pro-rule of law. That would also signal perhaps a willingness from the centre-right to compromise on certain issues, but not on Ukraine, which has been a dividing line within far-right parties. Some of them do not support more support for Ukraine, others do, and that will be what happens next. It is halfway about the election, halfway about the horse trading that will happen in Brussels now, about appointing the Commission President, appointing commissioners, the President of the European Council, the President of the European Parliament. Exactly how that shapes up will be based on the final makeup of this Parliament. So there will be more far right-wing influence in the European Parliament, but this does not represent a surge or a complete change in direction for the European Union, because that centre ground has held for now.
Alex, so what happens now? I mean, who calls the shots? And you did mention about the choosing of the presidents of the Commission and Parliament. What procedures are involved for that?
Well, the first step is that the member states themselves have to nominate a Commission President, which means the first port of call for Ursula von der Leyen, who wants to stay on as Commission President, is to start having those meetings and start lobbying member states to make sure that she has their nomination. Now, some have said they will already support her bid. Others are keeping her in the dark for now. This result makes it easier for her to make her case, because it means that there is a centre-right centre of gravity in the European Parliament, which is where she stands. So clearly, these results are favourable when it comes to Ursula von der Leyen becoming the President of the European Commission. Nominations for all 27 commissioners and, crucially, for Josep Borrell's job, the EU's top diplomat, the High Representative for Foreign Affairs. Once they're nominated by the member states, the European Parliament, crucially, has to approve those nominations, and that is the democratic part of this process. That's why these election results matter, and the negotiations between the parties, between the far-right parties. To be able to pass these nominations through the Parliament, they will have to give a little, concede on some issues, and perhaps appoint more right-wing commissioners than we've seen before. But certainly now it's all about negotiations and quite a lot of politics in Brussels for the next few days.
Alex Cadier in Brussels, thanks very much. Now, in a shocking move, France's President Emmanuel Macron on Sunday called for a snap parliamentary election. Macron's decision, it came after he dissolved the parliament because of his party's unsatisfactory results in the recent EU election. Macron was trounced in the European Union vote by Marine Le Pen's far-right party, the National Rally. Now, according to the exit polls, the National Rally party won around 32% of the vote, more than double Macron's 15%. Macron's widely unexpected decision could leave him in a nearly powerless position if the National Rally Party wins a parliamentary majority.
Consultation prévue à l'article 12 de notre Constitution.
After having proceeded with the consultations as provided in the Article 12 of our Constitution, I decided to give back to you the choice for the future of our Parliament with a vote, and so I am dissolving tonight our National Assembly. This is not a good result for parties that defend Europe, including the presidential majority. The parties of the far right, which in recent years oppose so much progress driven by our Europe, these parties are making gains everywhere around the continent.
Que la parole soit donnée au peuple souverain.
And to put this into context, Ross Cullen now joins us from Paris with an update. Ross, snap polls, are the opposition parties ready for the elections right now?
Yes, they are. They are certainly ready for campaigning. Marine Le Pen, the main figurehead from the National Rally Party, says they're not only ready for campaigning, we are ready to govern. We are ready to reform the party if the French people put their trust in us. She is certainly happy to be back out on the campaign trail, trying to press home that message and press home that victory for her party in the European Union elections for France's MEPs. In terms of the presidential majority, which Emmanuel Macron mentioned there in the introduction, that is the three parties that come together to form the governing coalition, of which the biggest party is his party. In fact, some of his supporters cried out, oh no, they really didn't want to have to go into a rushed 3-week campaign. The Republicans, who are the centre-right party, once of the former presidents Jacques Chirac and Nicolas Sarkozy, well, they also say that it is too rushed. The timetable is not there, only 3 weeks. Now they need to come together to get manifestos ready to start selecting candidates and getting out campaigning. In only 21 days' time, we'll have the first round of voting. But in terms of the opposition, they are certainly up for the fight and ready to take the battle to the president.
Indeed, and what happens if Macron's Renew party takes a hit in the June 30 elections as is expected? Does it reduce his power a lot?
It would certainly reduce his power again if his party were to be the biggest party but suffer more losses in terms of its number of MPs. It already does not have a majority in Parliament, even if you add in Macron's party and its two centrist allies in the governing coalition. They still don't hit the magic number of 289, which you need for a majority in Parliament. So they're weak already, would be further weakened if they did lose MPs. Now, what could happen is the National Rally could win the election in terms of they get the biggest number of MPs but fall short of a majority. Then we would have a Prime Minister, very likely to be the leader of that party, the young 28-year-old nationalist Jordan Bardella. However, there is the outside possibility of the National Rally not only being the biggest party but actually getting a majority. That would put intense pressure on the president, who would still be in charge of defence and foreign policy, but would see the National Rally, nationalists and populists, running the parliament.
Okay, we'll leave it there. Thanks very much, Ross Cullen, for putting that into context for us. Now, Iran's Guardian Council, which oversees the elections and legislation, it has approved 6 candidates to run for the presidential post in the upcoming elections in Iran. According to state TV, Iran's hardline parliament speaker Mohammad Bakir Kalibaf, the former chief nuclear negotiator Saeed Jalili, and Tehran's conservative mayor Alireza Zakhani, they are the candidates. The list also includes Masoud Pezeshkian, reformist lawmaker Mustafa Pourmohammadi, former Interior Minister, and Amir Hossein Ghazizadeh Hashimi, who's a conservative politician. Now, with the announcement of the final list, electoral activities officially started in Iran, and the presidential election is expected. It's due to take place on the 28th of June. Let's take a look at other stories making the news around the world. A decade-long Mosul has regained freedom. This is from the clutches of ISIS. Residents feel at ease while trying to restructure the fabrics of the historical city by collaborating to work on its architectural grandeur. People now freely enjoy Lebanese cuisine and Syrian tenors while sitting in the comfort of the riverside cafes. Good news there. Malaysia has got its first electric trains at a presentation ceremony in China. Now, these trains will be operable by the Gemas Johar Baharu electric double track, and these have a seating capacity of 312 seats. They are going to run at the speed of 140 kilometers per hour. An 81-year-old former government official was scammed by a call center gang in Thailand. Most unfortunate incident, the gang posed as police, claiming to investigate his account for illegal activity. They asked him to transfer cash, money, and they forced him to mortgage his house, scamming him for a total of 22 million baht. So still to come here on DD India News Hour. The US Secretary of State Anthony Blinken visits Egypt to push for a ceasefire in Gaza. Korean tensions get louder, literally. Security is tightened in Jammu and Kashmir after a tragic bus incident.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Len. Here's a recap of our main stories. Prime Minister Modi signs the first file in his third term related to farmers' welfare. 93 million farmers to benefit from around $2.5 billion of disbursement. Prime Minister Modi thanks world leaders for their congratulatory messages on his assuming office again. He's to chair his first cabinet meeting later this afternoon. The centre-right European People's Party has emerged as the largest group in the European Parliament with 191 seats. Von der Leyen is likely to get another term at the helm. Israel's Minister Benny Gantz announced his resignation from Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's war cabinet on Sunday. Gantz said that Netanyahu is preventing them from advancing towards true victory, and that is why he is leaving the government. Calling for an early election, Gantz said that there should be elections to establish a government that will win the trust of the people and be able to face challenges. Meanwhile, Netanyahu issued a brief statement calling on Gantz not to abandon the front, but his departure will not endanger the parliamentary majority. Gantz is seen as Netanyahu's main political rival in Israel. The U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken is visiting Egypt and Israel on Monday to push for a ceasefire in Gaza and also to prevent the conflict from spreading to Lebanon. Blinken will meet with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in Cairo before heading to Israel to meet with the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and the Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. Now, this visit, it also follows President Joe Biden's proposal on May 31 for a three-phase ceasefire plan, which includes ending hostilities, releasing hostages and prisoners, and also rebuilding Gaza. The United States and France have come up with a plan to use profits generated by sanctioned Russian assets to help Ukraine. President Biden has been in France this week for the D-Day celebrations, which were also attended by Ukraine's leader Volodymyr Zelensky. DD India's Jagruti Dave reports.
The United States and its Western allies have been working to try and find a way to use the money that has been subject to sanctions, the Russian funds that have been subject to sanctions by the West, in order to help Ukraine. Now, this week, while US President Joe Biden was in France for those D-Day commemorations, he spoke to his Ukrainian counterpart Volodymyr Zelensky and said that the United States would stand with Ukraine all the way in its fight against Russia. Now, in a joint statement, the United States and France mentioned their plans to, quote, continue the provision of political, security, humanitarian and economic assistance to Ukraine. Now, over the weekend, the presidents of France and the United States also released a roadmap detailing how they were going to help Ukraine, and that included the use of these frozen Russian assets. Now, worldwide, the assets from Russia's central bank that have been subject to sanctions, that's almost $300 billion worth. Majority of that money is in the European Union. Now, the EU says that the profits generated by those funds technically do not belong to Russia. Russia, however, says that the seizure of those profits would be tantamount to theft. Jagruti Dave in Washington for DD India.
Russia's Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is set to host a two-day meeting of the BRICS foreign ministers from Monday. The meeting will center on the latest developments in Gaza with a focus on regional and global concerns such as Ukraine and Syria. Dasha Chernyshova reports from Moscow.
Foreign ministers of the BRICS countries are gathering in Russia's city of Nizhny Novgorod for a two-day summit. What makes this year's edition especially interesting is the expanded format, as during the Ministerial Council an already expanded grouping will hold an extended session with the participation of the delegations from what's called like-minded states, representing regional interaction formats such as the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, ASEAN, the African Union, the League of Arab States, and many others. The summit will be headed by Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, as Russia is holding the rotating chairmanship in the group, and joint efforts to strengthen multilateralism and international relations is expected to dominate the agenda. The ministers will discuss current international and regional issues, interaction among BRICS states, and the group's cooperation with other countries. Russian Foreign Ministry says the participants will talk about the role of the countries of the global South and East in the process of establishing a, quote, more fair world order. Special attention will be paid to the fulfillment of the Johannesburg Declaration and defining the modalities for a new category of partner states. That is part of the preparation for the Leaders' Summit that is due to be held in Kazan in October. Dasha Cherneshova in Moscow, reporting for DD India.
And now DD India's Sarah Coates is joining us from Tel Aviv with an update on the Israel-Hamas conflict and also on Benny Gantz's resignation. Sarah, Benny Gantz quitting, what impact does it have on Netanyahu's numbers?
Hello there, Mark. It doesn't have an effect on his numbers, an impact on his numbers, excuse me, given that he has a majority in the Israeli Knesset, 64 seats from the 120-seat plenum. But really what it does is just heap more pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli Prime Minister. Of course, we do need to remember that with his departure, also following him was Gadi Eisenkot. And this then leaves leaves space for the more far right-wing elements of Netanyahu's government. We're speaking specifically here, people like Bezalel Smotrich, he's the finance minister, and also the national security minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir. And these have been the people in the coalition that have really been pressuring Netanyahu not to do any deal with Hamas, not to bring these people back, essentially, but also to go deeper into Gaza. So certainly this really lays bare the deep divisions here in Israel.
Also, what's expected from Anthony Blinken's visit to Egypt? How much is Israel willing to negotiate?
Well, that remains unclear at this stage. We have been hearing from the Israelis time and time again, Mark, that there will be no end to the war without the complete dismantling of Hamas. And this has been the main sticking point time and time again. Hamas says that it will not accept any kind of deal that doesn't issue a full comprehensive ceasefire. So certainly Anthony Blinken, his 8th wartime visit, he has a very tough task on his hand. He'll be first travelling to Cairo to meet with the Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. He'll then land here in Israel at around 6 p.m. local time, and then have a number of high-level meetings with officials like Netanyahu and also the Defence Minister Yoav Gallant. So certainly a very difficult trip for Anthony Blinken. He has two main goals. One of these, of course, is to bring an end to the war, to see these remaining Israeli hostages brought home, and secondly, to really stop this conflict escalating into potentially a wider scale regional war that could draw in Iran. So certainly a very tough visit, his 8th wartime visit since October.
Sarah Coates in Tel Aviv, thanks very much. North Korea is moving to install propaganda loudspeakers aimed at neighboring South Korea on Monday. Earlier, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's sister, Kim Yo-jong, in fact, issued a warning through the state media on Sunday, threatening a fresh retaliation against South Korea if it continued to use these loudspeaker broadcasts and leaflet scattering amid escalating tensions. On Sunday, South Korea's military confirmed the resumption of loudspeaker broadcasts aimed at North Korea in response to Pyongyang's refusal to halt sending balloons which contained garbage or trash into the South. Chris Gilbert reports from Tokyo.
Well, we have a little bit more information about the broadcast from South Korea across the DMZ into North Korea and around the southern part of North Korea. This is a broadcast called The Voice for Freedom, a radio program by the Defense Ministry's Psychological Warfare Unit. We know that it broadcasts an update about South Korea leaving that 2018 de-escalating military pact, about the reasons why it began broadcasting broadcasting these messages across the DMZ again. It was broadcasting news that South Korea, the US and Japan condemn North Korea's continued missile provocations, which of course they have done for quite some time. They've also announced, interestingly, that Samsung Electronics, the Korean electronics firm, is currently leading 38 countries for the shipments of smartphones, and they also blasted updates about the weather and price trends in the North Korean markets as well. So really trying to dig up everything they can to try and make South Korea look good. And so it does suggest, experts say, a more assertive stance from South Korea, that they're ready to up the ante faster, as can be demonstrated, as seen by how they have left completely, as of last week, that 2018 de-escalating military agreement.
South Korea and the United States are holding talks in Seoul to enhance their nuclear response strategy against North Korea. The third meeting of the Nuclear Consultative Group is designed to follow up on last year's summit, during which the United States promised to give South Korea more insight into its nuclear planning for a conflict with the North. The latest talks will be led by Cho Chang-rae, and South Korea's Deputy Defense Minister, that is, for Policy, and Vipin Narang, who is the acting U.S. Assistant Secretary of Defense for Space Policy. The United States' consulate in Sydney was vandalized on Monday. The Australian police said that they had started an investigation. The building was attacked and sprayed with paint. 9 windows of the consulate were damaged, and the building's door was, graffitiized or graffitied. And, Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has condemned this incident. A new terrorist attack wreaked havoc and panic in India's Jammu and Kashmir after a bus plunged into a gorge after being attacked on Sunday. 10 people were killed and 33 injured after the terrorists had opened fire on this bus carrying pilgrims from a shrine in Riyasi district. The bus rolled down the gorge and this is after that attack, and the police, with the help of locals, evacuated the passengers and they rushed them to the nearest hospital. Security has been heightened, and it has obviously been tightened in the area, and the drones there are being used to search these area for terrorists. Furthermore, a national besides state investigation agency, they have reached Riyasi to help them investigate this attack. The Indian Army has launched a manhunt for the terrorists. India's President Draupadi Murmu has condoled the loss of lives in the terror attack. President Murmu said on social media, and I quote, "I am anguished by the terrorist attack on the bus carrying pilgrims in Riyasi district of Jammu and Kashmir. This dastardly act is a crime against humanity and must be condemned in the strongest words. The nation stands with the families of the victims. I pray for a speedy recovery of the injured," unquote. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar expressed his anguish over the attack, and he condemned the incident and condoled the bereaved families. Now, the Lieutenant Governor of Jammu and Kashmir, Manoj Sinha, condemned the attack. He visited the government hospital, met the injured on Monday, and he announced an ex gratia of 100,000 rupees each to the next of kin of those killed in the attack. Sinha also approved 50,000 rupees each to those injured. He stressed that all those behind this attack would be punished soon. The India Meteorological Department has issued a heavy rainfall alert over the western coast and some eastern states of India. A red warning has been issued over the parts of Goa, Maharashtra and Karnataka because of very heavy rainfall. Light to moderate rainfall with thunderstorms and lightning and gusty winds are also expected over Karnataka, Kerala, Lakshadweep and Andhra Pradesh. This is during the next 3 to 4 days. And these conditions will remain over northeastern India and West Bengal during the next 6 days. In eastern and central India, similar conditions will exist over Bihar, Jharkhand, Odisha, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. This is during the next 4 days. The India Meteorological Department has also issued a heat wave warning for parts of North and East India. And according to the agency, the heat wave conditions are likely to continue for the next 5 days in pockets of Punjab, Haryana, Bihar, Jharkhand and Gangetic West Bengal. This is during June 9 to June 13. Jammu, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Delhi, West Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh will also witness intense conditions between June 11 and 13. In a social media post, the Indian Space Research Organisation shared images of the sun's surface captured by the Aditya L1, India's solar mission. The Solar Ultraviolet Imaging Telescope called SOOT and the Visible Emission Line Seismograph or VELC. These two remote sensing instruments on board Aditya L1 captured the images during a solar storm last month, the historic sunstorm that impacted India and other parts of the world hit the Earth's magnetic field. ISRO's lunar orbiter Chandrayaan-2 also contributed valuable observations from its unique vantage point around the moon. Aditya L1 is India's first solar mission. Let's get you some other stories making the news now. Residents of Delhi are grappling with a severe shortage of water, resorting to lining up for tanker deliveries. The extreme heat wave in Delhi has also disrupted daily routines, leading to a sharp increase in the need for water. The minister in Delhi, Atishi Marlena, has requested the LG, Vinay Saxena, to talk to the Haryana government concerning the amount of water being released into the Munak Canal. 7 water treatment plants of Delhi depend on the Munak Canal for water. Delhi Police has added a new IPC section against the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's aide, Biphav Kumar, in the Aam Aadmi Party MP Swati Maliwal's assault case. IPC Section 201, disappearing evidence and giving false information of the Indian Penal Code. This was added to the case. Biphav Kumar is accused of assaulting Maliwal at the Chief Minister's official residence on May 13. And still to come here on DD India News Hour, the Sensex and the Nifty are rocky after a rocking opening. And Carlos Alcaraz shows his class in outlasting Zverev for the French Open crown.
Wherever news breaks, whatever it takes.
Connecting corners, cutting across continents.
Stories that matter from across the globe.
Accurate, authentic journalism that serves you right. From politics to glamour, from sports to world affairs, with a fusion of aesthetics and substance. Introducing news in a new avatar. Experience the world through a new lens. Stay tuned to DD India for an exciting journey beyond borders.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Now, the Indian stocks have defied broader trends in Asia and had reached unprecedented levels on Monday, a day after Prime Minister Narendra Modi was sworn in for a third term, as investors expect stability from the new government. However, since then, the markets have started falling, and currently the Sensex is down by about 123 points, and the Nifty too is also down by a few points. Now in sports, India edged past Pakistan by 6 runs in a low-scoring T20 World Cup Group A encounter in New York on Sunday. Chasing a target of 120, Pakistan seemed to have the game in the bag. However, the pace combination of Jasprit Bumrah and Hardik Pandya brought India back into the match with some sensational bowling. This story tells us about the thrilling match.
Jasprit Bumrah bowled a terrific spell as India edged past Pakistan by 6 runs in a low-scoring but tense T20 World Cup Group A encounter on Sunday in New York. Chasing a target of 120, Pakistan were cruising at one stage. They needed run a ball 47, but Bumrah turned the game on its head with some sensational bowling. Pakistan lost wickets in a heap to end at 113 runs in 20 overs.
First of all, very, very happy with the result that we got. And the biggest positive for us was the calmness, because when we were batting in the morning, there was a lot more help. And when we started bowling, the skies opened up and the ball stopped seaming and there wasn't a lot of lateral movement. So we had to be more consistent and more accurate. And we as a unit were very calm and very clear on what we wanted to do. So very happy that as a unit we were able to contribute and created that pressure, and then we were able to get the win.
Earlier, Pakistan owned the toss and elected to bowl on a two-paced pitch where rain interruptions made things difficult for India. The Rohit Sharma-led side suffered a mid-innings collapse and were all out for an underwhelming 119 runs in 19 overs despite a gutsy effort from Rishabh Pant, who scored 42. Pakistan seemed to have the game in the bag. However, the pace combination of Bumrah, who took 3 wickets for 14 runs, and Hardik Pandya brought back India into the game.
It's a disappointing loss, that's for sure. I knew 120 wasn't going to be an easy target, because if India only got 120, it was always going to be not the easiest. But I think we had the game at 72 for 2, 6 or 7 overs left at that point. So disappointing not to get across the line from the position we got ourselves into.
The result moved India to the top of Group A with 2 wins from their opening 2 matches, while Pakistan have 0 points from 2 defeats following their upset by the United States.
DD India correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya spoke to fans after the match, and they were, as expected, excited with this thrilling encounter. Let's listen to what they said.
So Indian fans are absolutely excited with the win. It's a very, very close match. It was a close match.
It was a close match. The pitch is okay. However, it's played before those 2 matches. It was better than this match. India were short like 10-15 runs, but our bowlers got this. I'm damn sure that Rohit Sharma are going to lift the trophy in Barbados. 100%.
Definitely, India is going to win this one. And you know what? Amazing the way they played. We defended the game. Again, we have to beat Pakistan every time, and they kept the record intact. Go India!
What about you, sir?
First half was we are a little bit upset with the score, but in second half, in the second half, we recovered and we bowled very well, and feeling was very good. We one or two catches we dropped, but that's fine. But still, we did great. India.
So what happened is that finally India won, but there are certain concerns, isn't it? India though kept its record of win in World Cup, but some concerns were there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Our batting has to improve a lot, and our that's the main reason. Yeah, batting, especially batting. Actually, we need to
middle orders. I would say like Shivam Dubey and how Ravindra Jadeja plays. Those shots were not.
Together too.
All the fans are saying that it's a batter that need to make themselves more accustomed to the condition and do better in matches to come. But they are very excited and very happy with the final result. India still manages to win even with the defending 120 run. With Campus and Shankar, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for DD India from New York.
Spain's Carlos Alcaraz clinched his maiden French Open men's singles trophy on Sunday, beating Germany's Alexander Zverev in a 5-set showdown. Alcaraz claimed his 3rd Grand Slam title after winning Wimbledon last year and the US Open in 2022. The 21-year-old also became the youngest man to win Grand Slam titles on all 3 surfaces. The German 4th seed Zverev, who was looking to finally land his first Grand Slam title, presented a formidable opponent at a 12-match winning streak on the red dirt. But the 27-year-old's wait for a major title that has long been predicted to be in his kitty continues after his 2nd defeat in a Grand Slam final. A curtain-raiser yoga event was held on the beachside of Izikkul Lake in Kyrgyzstan. This is by students of the International Higher School of Medicine. Now, every year on June 21, the world comes together to celebrate International Yoga Day. This day is dedicated to raising awareness about the ancient Indian practice of yoga and its benefits for physical and mental well-being. Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those of you on the go, you can get the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code and download it. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mark Lin. From all of us here in Delhi, thank you very much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.